All right, welcome to Dropping Dimes, Episode 8, brought to you by Four Corner Sports. I'm your host, Flav Oriana, with my co host over here, Hav Rodriguez.
What's going on?
All right, Hav, so a lot has been going down so far within the NBA. It's exciting times. I mean, for some reason, the offseason of the NBA, always a lot of buzz. We got some big trades, some stars have been traded. We got superstars on the brink of being traded to different teams. You got what's it called? Powerhouses, stacking up, trying to contend for a title. And then we also got new jerseys. I mean, some of these jerseys look pretty cool. Some of these jerseys looks kind of eh. So let's get to it. All right, Hoff. So we're gonna start it off with this happened. What was it? A couple days ago. So the Thunder. All right, Thunder weren't originally last year expected to do so well, exceeded expectations, made the playoffs, went to a game 7 of the first round against the Houston Rockets, led by CP3. This guy is a great player. Everywhere he goes, he over exceeds expectations and he does things where he's supposed to be doing and help the Thunder make the playoffs. They get eliminated in the first round, but
No, well,
CP3 is
no one expected them to make the first round. Actually,
no. I mean they exceeded expectations. That's what I'm saying. Nobody thought they were gonna be a playoff team,
but
but
no, they so Thunder is going in full rebuild mode. We knew that already. Just dropping CP3 makes it official. I think they were kind of stunned with CP3. Nobody thought he was going to perform like the way he did. He was an MVP candidate.
I mean this guy for his height, his passing ability, his leadership, that thing carries. And the fact that he's 35 and still playing at a high caliber, I mean, speaks volume right there. But Sam Presti, you know, always thinking 3 steps ahead. He wants to make sure that his team, the Thunder, is at least going to be able to compete the way that they were at one point when they had Westbrook, Harden, and Durant. Ends up trading CP3 away. All right. Of course, this guy just racks up on draft picks. I mean, this guy saves, and he has these things stashed up. Like this guy's like a hoarder when it comes to draft picks. Ends up trading CP3 to the Phoenix Suns of all places, the Phoenix Suns, in exchange for Kelly Oubre and Ricky Rubio and a couple of first round draft picks. So Hav, I mean, what's your opinion on that? CP3 in Arizona of all places.
Now I have no idea what the hell Phoenix is going to do with CP3. To be honest, I have no idea why they wanted him. But I mean, you had Ricky Rubio, so you didn't have a lot going for you. But they should make the playoffs. Honestly, I don't see why not.
Look, I honestly do think they'll make the playoffs. I mean, some people are speculating that they're going to be a top 5 team with Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton. I don't know about top 5. I think that could be their ceiling, but there's a lot of killers in the West.
Yeah, I think they should be good enough to make the first round.
Yeah, I think they'll be more like a 7 or 8 seed. I think if you have Dallas in the mix, you still have Portland. I don't know about top 5, but yeah, I definitely agree that they'll make the playoffs. I mean,
look, CP3 makes any team he goes to really good.
That's
And
true.
the only problem I have CP3 is he's a little ball dominant, but he can make good plays happen and good things. He look at the way he was setting up OKC. The only problem with OKC is they had really nobody that can be that guy to shoot and everything.
Yeah, you had Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who was too young. You had Dort, who was too young. Steven Adams is not a playmaker or anything like that. He's just a rebound chaser.
It's just a big body down there, and it was not so. This Suns team would be better for him, in my opinion. You do have Devin Booker, and now they got to focus on you and Devin Booker. When he was in OKC, teams would just lock in on Chris Paul, and he would force the pass out and rely on his teammates to completely miss the shot. So,
Yeah, you're right.
and maybe Chris Paul going to the Suns brings some talent around to him. A lot of the players like Chris Paul. He is the president of uh, union.
NBA Player
So
Association, yeah.
yeah,
And remember, he's also reuniting with his old coach Monty Williams. So that right there, a good familiarity, a good familiarity.
he'll fit
You
right
know
in. I just don't know how far they'll
exactly.
go. That depends on the moves they do. Because if they keep the team the way it is right now, I think honestly they would maybe be a lower seed, but I don't think they'll go anywhere.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, Devin Booker's been talking about him wanting to make the playoffs. He's tired of losing. Well, now you got a winner at point guard right there, alongside with you in the backcourt.
But that's
Plus,
not enough.
it's
That's
not
not
enough.
enough.
It's not enough, but it's a huge step up. And what's it called? Booker and Aiton definitely do need some playoff experience. And Chris Paul is definitely gonna at least give him that. And he's gonna coach him up pretty well. I mean, this guy is a great leader. He's a great coach. He's a good player coach. So, got to give him that. So yeah. But as for OKC, I mean, I feel bad for Kelly Oubre. Kelly Oubre was coming into his own. Ricky Rubio, don't really feel bad for him whatsoever, just because of the fact that he, like Hobbs said, he's not the type of person that shoots. Doesn't shoot whatsoever. I wonder how.
Doesn't really
Okay,
do anything but pass, in my opinion.
exactly. I wonder how it's gonna be in OKC. I know they're more than likely not gonna make the playoffs. Is Shea Gilgeous Alexander's progression gonna continue, or he's gonna get a bump in the road? Is OKC gonna trade Steven Adams if they're really considering a full, rebuild? I don't think Daniel Gallinari is gonna return back. So I don't know. I mean, there's tons of things that it's gonna happen in OKC. All I know is that Sam Presti's collecting those draft picks as of like they were like gold, because he has, I think, what is it, like 16 draft picks over the next 6 years. It's insane. It's honestly insane. But yeah, so
That is way too many draft picks, honestly. I don't know what you're gonna do with that many.
I don't know what he's gonna do with it, but he definitely has a lot. Moving on to our second topic. So, a former teammate of CP3 when CP3 was in Houston, James Harden, has been all over the NBA circuit. He has been all over every media outlet, whether or not this guy's going to get traded or not. Came forward, says that he only wants to be traded towards the Brooklyn Nets. He only wants to be traded towards the Brooklyn Nets. He wants to, if he gets traded, he'll be able to reunite with Kevin Durant, and he'll be able to play alongside with Kyrie Irving. Look, that right there is huge. That would be a big three in itself at the Barclays Center. But Hav, I mean, if I gotta ask you, what's your thoughts and your opinions on James Harden only wanting to be traded towards the Brooklyn Nets?
Well, I
And
believe
should
he gave two destinations, right?
I thought it said that he only wants to be traded to Brooklyn, but maybe it did say something about
I
Philly.
read somewhere it was two destinations, but like he's solely focused on Brooklyn. Now, he turned down $50 million a year. The Rockets gave him an extension offer for 2 more years, $50 million each year. That is a ton of money to give to one player, bro. That would have made him the highest paid player in a
He
single
would have,
season.
yeah, he would have been the first one. He would have been the first.
Yeah,
Guy.
first and highest, bro. That's crazy, bro. You turning down $50 million a year, meaning you're not trying to chase the bag. You're really trying to get a ring. And he wants it that bad that he's turning down $50 million a year. I don't know how many players would have done that. I can't imagine $50 million turning it down. Like, nah, I'm good. Now, will he get even half of that at Brooklyn? We'll see. I don't know their checkbook, but I don't like James Harden to the Brooklyn.
I don't like him either. I don't know. I feel like Brooklyn would be surrendering so much just to get him.
Yeah,
I mean,
they're gonna surrender again. They're gonna be in the same position when they had KG, Paul Pierce, and they just gave away their whole future.
Exactly. Look, I think it's gonna be something like, remember
To
with
be
the
fair,
Knicks.
to be
Yeah,
fair, this will be different because they have better players. They don't have washed up stars. So that might be different this time around.
Well, I wanted to say, remember back in was in 2011 when Carmelo demanded a trade from out of Denver. He wanted to go to the Knicks, and the Knicks gave up everything. They gave up everything. That's what I fear with the Brooklyn Nets. I know it's a little bit different because you already have a Kevin Durant and a Kyrie Irving on that team. But who are you going to give up? You're going to give up Spencer Dinwiddie, Karis LeVert?
I think what makes that team is their bench, man.
Exactly. And you're going to need that bench come
You got
playoff
that
time.
Harden grit bench that they play hard, man. They're not superstars in their own right, but they play hard, bro. This team will give you everything they got.
And honestly, this team right now, the way it's constructed, they could compete with anybody. I don't think you need a James Harden. I
I
really
don't think
don't.
you need. There's too much. Look, Kevin Durant's not a ball hog, but Kyrie Irving's definitely likes to have the ball in his hand, and James Harden loves to ISO and everything. I don't know how this would work.
I don't know. I think it could be a recipe for disaster.
I don't think there's enough ball to go around.
No, there really isn't. There really isn't a lot of ball to go around, and I'm just fearful that if this trade goes through, it's gonna be playoff or bust. I mean, championship or bust for Brooklyn. And you got Spencer Dinwiddie, who's an excellent,
And he
excellent.
probably won't even be there. He'll probably be part of the trade package.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna do what the Warriors do, where you just load up your starting lineup, have an okay bench that can hopefully just hold the lead, and then you come back in, and that's it.
Yeah, I don't. I just honestly don't want to.
I
See
think
him
the
do that?
Brooklyn Nets can shop around for better options. I don't think they need James Harden. You already have scorers. You're not going to be missing out on scorers.
Like, if they wanted to get a Bradley Beal, understandable, because that guy's not a ball dominant player. James Harden, this guy dribble, has everybody looking around him. He's not going to change. He's already an MVP at this rate. He's an MVP. What is it? He's been scoring 30 points for like the last 3 years in a row. He's not going to change his ways. So why? Because of Kevin Durant? Every other teammate that he has, big time teammate, has left. Dwight Howard. Then it was CP3. Now Russell Westbrook wants out too. It's like, come on, man. Like, at some point, you got to look at James Harden. Now, if he goes to Brooklyn, he can't act like that. I really don't. I really wouldn't want him in Brooklyn to begin with. I know that fans will be clamoring, wanting James Harden, but not for nothing. You're gonna surrender your whole basis right there just to get him. Doesn't make any sense whatsoever. I really like Joe Harris.
And I didn't like that team to begin with. To me, Kyrie is like mentally, I don't know where he is. This dude thinks the earth is flat. He acts like a diva, bro. Look at his time in Boston, bro. And then now you put him in Brooklyn with Kevin Durant, who's also got a pretty soft attitude. You know, he's always online on Twitter. Look at this. He made a burner account. Who makes a burner account?
Yeah, I don't know.
You got the two like softest personalities in the NBA in the same team.
And then you're gonna bring James Harden into that. Plus, yeah, Kyrie Irving. Breaking news. He ends up saying, "We don't even need a coach. It's a collaborative effort."
Yeah, what the fuck? That's just a disaster waiting to happen, honestly. That's why I said Brooklyn is a must-watch team, because it's going to go either one way. It's going to go really good or really bad. There's no in between. You got some real like personalities in there that are hard to deal with. And the talent is there, but let's see if they get it along, you know? Because if I'm the coach and I hear and I'm coming in and they're like, yeah, we're not really going to, listen to you. We're just going to brainstorm together. It's like, what? Not to mention the coach also is new. So everything about that team is new. I don't think, if they get their shit together, I think Brooklyn will be fine for their first year. They may make a serious run. But I'm thinking more second year, assuming that team's still together. Because you got it's a lot to handle there. Brooklyn's gonna be crazy, especially if Harden does go over there. I already think they're a top 2 must watch team. So
yeah, you're gonna have the Clippers to look at, and you're gonna have the Brooklyn Nets to look at.
You have the Clippers to look back to see how they're gonna bounce back. You have the Lakers adding pieces.
And then you definitely gonna have to look at the Brooklyn Nets. That's the main team to watch on the
Nets,
East.
and you have Golden State coming back
too. So you got those 4
with
teams
high draft pick, so they can they can do something.
I honestly, I don't know if I could think of a time where it can be this close on who might win it all this year. I know that's a different topic for a different day, but the idea of James Harden going to Brooklyn, him possibly be traded there, with all that drama.
I guess they're trying to score 150 points a game, bro. I don't know what else. What else? That's crazy. You're not gonna stop that team, first of all.
And scoring, you're
They're
gonna
gonna
have to just
stop
try to compete.
themselves.
Yeah,
But even then, you would have to count on all three having an off night, and that's what you. And that didn't happen too often when Kevin Durant was in Golden State. You didn't really see all three of them go, off on one night. So, for example, when Clay was going off for like 40 points in that
Ooh,
one quarter,
Clay, man, gets hot. What did he drop? Like 37, his highest.
something, yeah, and it was crazy. But Steph was cold that game. So,
Yeah,
and then vice versa, you get Steph who's really hotter, and if they're all hot, forget it. You're really done for.
yeah, you're not
That's the
gonna be
only
able to compete.
upside, but there's a lot of major downside to it. I don't like it. I think James Harden should have stayed in Houston. He said it himself. They needed one more piece. He should have been the one to be like, okay, let's go get that one piece, and I'm gonna get my money while we're trying. If not, then I'm out. You still got a lot of years ahead of you, bro.
Yeah, I don't know. I probably would have taken that contract. I know James Harden's one of the few players that can say, "Nah, I don't need that 50 million."
He
Remember,
doesn't. No, let's be honest. He really doesn't. He's got his endorsements and everything, so that's probably nothing.
that's
But
another
the
reason why.
fact
Yeah,
that he really wants this is just proven to me he really wants to win a ring. So it makes me kind of believe that he's willing to change the way he plays a little. But at the same time, it's James Harden, ISO player, bro. I just don't see him, man.
yeah. I mean, one of the few players to have their own signature sneaker, whether it's for Adidas, but yeah, I don't know too many players that would have declined that $50 million contract for that. I think it would have been like for what, a yearly basis. But yeah, it's crazy to think how James Harden is dominating the headlines. But speaking of trades, speaking of teams that are gonna be doing well, who might contend for a title or at least try to. So I don't know, bro, but I honestly think Giannis Antetokounmpo must be happy after him hearing what kind of help he's getting so far today, because Milwaukee actually said that they were going to try to revamp that team, make sure that team looks better, and it looks like they improved, in my opinion. Milwaukee ended up trading for Drew Holiday, point guard slash shooting guard of the New Orleans Pelicans, in exchange for 3 first-round draft picks, along with Eric Bledsoe and George Hill. Now, Hav, before I get in any further, who do you think won that trade right now? Is it the Pelicans or the Milwaukee
The
Pelicans?
Pelicans.
Pelicans? Okay.
And my reason why is because they got a lot back for Drew Holiday. For one player, they got 3 first-round draft picks and 2 good players. Eric Bledsoe and George Hill are no Drew Holiday, but they're still pretty solid players in my opinion. You can still get a lot out of them. Not to mention, you can shop them around too. They have kind of enough guards, so that team has also got a lot of picks and stuff, and then they can trade and stuff. They have a lot of options, so they're super flexible. New Orleans' future can only get better from here. Not to mention, they still have their superstar Zion, so they're not. To me, they won that trade, but Milwaukee didn't lose the trade either. They got better. They got a point guard who can defend, who can shoot. He can do everything, but mostly his defense is like really, really off the charts. A lot of NBA players always say on the most underrated defender is Drew Holiday. It's like he gives you problems.
That's true. That's true. Drew Holiday is always not mentioned by a lot of NBA players, most underrated.
And it's not like you need him to score 40 points. You have Giannis there for that. So this is just better for Milwaukee. They need to do something up. They can't go into with the same team for a third year now. So they need to do something. This should help them honestly, because their point guard position was probably the weakest. I want to say the weakest link, but they could have used an upgrade, and this is a huge upgrade. And
It,
not to
it
mention you hold on, not to
okay.
mention you still have Giannis, who's the defensive player of the year. So like he's always in that conversation regardless. So that team is just gonna be full of freaking. If you get past Drew Holiday, there's Giannis right there to chase you down. So it's it's honestly a great move. So both teams benefited greatly, but I think the Pelicans benefited a little bit more only because they have more flexibility to do more options such as trade, get better players, or just go into the draft and see what you can get.
Now to me, right? I think this is a good trade, but I also do feel like this is Milwaukee trying to fill in the patches that they kind of created because I really do believe that if they would have never let Malcolm Brogdon walk and for him to sign with Indiana, Milwaukee wouldn't be having a lot of these point guard issues. I mean, Malcolm Brogdon's a great defender too, but I think I know this was a trade that they needed to make because it was very important to keep Giannis happy. And sure, you probably gave up maybe a little bit too much than what you really wanted to, but at least they got it done. I just feel like if they would have given Malcolm Brogdon a little bit more money, like they should have, they would have never needed to make this trade, and they could have just retooled from there. But Hav, in my opinion, well, I'm gonna ask you first, but do you think this makes Chris Middleton officially the number 3 on that team?
No, he's
And
still number two.
he's still number 2?
He's still number two in my opinion, bro. He can still shoot and everything. He's not the go-to guy, but he can be your 2 or 3 guy. Now it depends honestly too how the season progresses. You never know. Drew Holiday might just have a season of his lifetime, where he just puts up crazy numbers because a better team around him and stuff. Because he's always been on kind of questionable teams, decent teams. And yes, and last year, he didn't really get to have the ball that much. You have Brandon Ingram and Zion Williams, Lonzo. You weren't really, gonna have the ball a lot. Here, you'll have the ball more. You won't have it a lot more, but definitely more opportunities because Giannis is gonna drive in. We know it. He's gonna have to kick it out, and then you're gonna have to see from there. But uh, I'm still. I think it's okay. I think it's a good deal. To have Chris Middleton as your second guy. I know you don't like him, but
Yeah. All right, go on.
but he is still he's still a great shooter. He's more of a 3 and D guy in my opinion. But he you need people like that around Giannis, man. Giannis is always going to find a way to bucket, and when he can't, he has to rely on people to shoot the ball. Chris Middleton just needs to be more consistent when it comes to it, especially during the playoffs.
Yeah, honestly, I think this makes Drew Holiday officially the number 2 on Milwaukee, and it moves Middleton to the number 3 slot when it comes to scoring because Middleton, great catch and shoot guy. He's a great 3-point shooter. He can play D if he really needs to. This kind of alleviates the pressure off of Chris Middleton, and this guy can honestly, what's it called? This guy can honestly, what's it called? You know, dribble with both hands. He's not one dimensional. He's not like a Julius Randle that can only drive in with his left. I like Drew Holiday. For I'm about to call them the Milwaukee Brewers. I'm sorry. The what's his wow. I'm having like a brain fart right now. The Milwaukee Bucks right now. So yeah, so
I had no idea what you were trying to say. I couldn't help you.
but yeah, so I gotta say that definitely a big help for at least Chris Middleton. I think Chris Middleton is right now the the best the best person right now in this situation. Doesn't have to really now feel like he has to carry Giannis's I guess like hiccups or whatever. But I mean, good move by Milwaukee. They're able to fix up their patches.
Good moves for both teams.
But honestly, I would love to see what the Pelicans do with this because they got 2 solid guards right now. George Hill, great defensive guard. He's not known for his offense, but he's a good defender. Eric Bledsoe, now doesn't have to be worried about like is he gonna be able to handle the pressure in the playoffs. Now he could play, you know, what's it called, freely at this point. He's in New Orleans, play alongside Zion Williamson, Josh Hart, Brandon Ingram. I believe JJ Redick is still on that team if I'm not mistaken. I think this is only gonna help out the Pelicans. Plus, they got three first round draft picks, so I really wonder what David Griffin is gonna end up doing with those those three first round draft picks.
Yeah, well, we'll see because the
And
draft's coming up, so
yeah,
they're
so
gonna shake things up.
I don't know. So Hav, now with this whole trade, going through, do you feel like Milwaukee is still a top two in the East, being able to contend for a title?
Uh, in the East, you said, right?
Yeah, in the
Yeah,
East
I
at
could still
least.
give it to them because the East honestly is struggling now a little. So we don't know what's up with the Sixers. We don't know what's up with the Nets. So yeah, I would always take Milwaukee serious. But don't forget, you still have teams like Miami.
Yeah, Miami. I just don't know if they're gonna be able to repeat, at least making it to the finals.
Well, I
And
mean,
then
they,
Boston's gonna get better at some point too.
yeah,
So,
that too. So it's hard to say, but nah, I could still see them a threat.
but we have some breaking news. All right, so Lakers improving their point guard. So we're talking about point guards now. We're
Well,
talking
it's
about
not
point guard.
official. It's rumor still, but
Okay.
they're saying they might acquire Dennis Schroeder from OKC to the Lakers. For
That
in return, I don't remember who it was. I believe Danny
Danny
Green and the
Green.
draft pick were a part of the package.
Yeah.
I like this. Dennis Schroeder is great.
I know you don't like Danny Green.
He can make.
Just like I.
Well, it's not that I don't like him. It's just that he does not. He's not the same player that he was before. So to me, he's not. How do you say this? He's not bad, but he's not nowhere near where he was before. And he really didn't. He really didn't produce for the Lakers. He's supposed to be a 3-and-D guy, and he barely made any threes. And not to mention that he wasn't really playing great defense. So Dennis Schroeder, if you're gonna sacrifice, Dennis Schroeder's not the best defender either, but he'll probably
But
give you the
boy,
same
he,
effort as and defense as Danny Green at this point. And
if
not to
not
mention,
more,
Dennis Schroeder can create his own shots. He does not need to stand and shoot. So
and he's a playmaker. He
yeah,
is
and
a
he's a
playmaker.
playmaker. So he adds way more mobility than Danny Green ever had. And like I said, Danny Green's not doing it for you right now. So you know what? Why not? Some other team wants him. Fine, take him. And like I said, OKC doesn't care at this point. They're just trying to fill out the roster while they figure out what to do with their draft picks.
Yeah, I really love this move. I really love this move by the Lakers. This right there will have them above the Clippers, above Denver. I don't know so much about Golden State. It really matters on who's going to be their number two overall draft pick. That would be the decisive factor whether or not Golden State has the edge over the Lakers or not. But I love this Dennis Schroeder, trade, trade rumor, because if this does go through, then rest assured, I mean, you're gonna see the Lakers back at it at the Western Conference Finals, trying to go make a trip back to the NBA Finals. Like, Dennis Schroeder is a major improvement over Rajon Rondo, huge improvement. So when LeBron's out on the floor, Schroeder can still play make, and LeBron doesn't always have to be doing like that heavy load of trying to get everybody in together. Having people like Kyle Kuzma knock down shots and stuff like that.
That's
So
somebody else they need to trade away. He's not doing it for you either, and he knows it. But they got to get some value out of him. Some team will see value in him, and they need to get rid of him too.
yeah, I mean, you can just trade him to the Thunder. He can score all the points he has to. It's not gonna be,
It might be
or
one of
the
those situations like Brandon Ingram where he just, it didn't fit in LA, but he's doing it well now. So it might be better for Kuzma anyways to leave. So people, so he becomes the player that he thinks he is. But that's as far as this rate, he's not giving you anything. He sucks at defense, and he's not giving you any points off the bench. So what is he really there for?
exactly. I could think of a couple places that Kyle Kuzma can excel in. Him being on bad teams, he could be on the Rockets, the Knicks.
Well, anyway, speaking of the Rockets, the Portland is giving away not giving away. They traded Trevor Ariza for was it Portland? Am I wording this wrong? For Trevor Ariza?
Yeah, you got it right. You got it right.
Yeah, so they get Robert Covington, and they give away Trevor Ariza. Ariza's back in Houston, but it might not be the same Houston he knew because James Harden might not even be there. So that sucks for him. But they get Robert Covington. Honestly, it's a whatever move to me.
You think so?
I don't really see a difference.
Well, Ariza's getting older, so
he is getting older. They just got a younger Ariza. That's really what they got.
Plus, I mean, look, Portland's defense was bad. It was bad. I mean, everybody was scoring on Portland. They had no defense whatsoever. I like Covington. He is the definition of a 3-and-D type of guy. I mean, he will knock down 3-point shots, but he will definitely defend you and he'll guard you up.
Yeah, it'll help. It's not a bad move. I just don't think it's a mind blowing move.
It's not a mind blowing move, but it's one of those moves that it is going to make a difference. It is going to help him win a couple of games with his defensive prowess. I do like the move. Is it going to be the difference between them making the finals? No, they're not going to make the finals. But it's definitely going to... I think it will probably have them up there with the top, teams in the West. I don't know how far they'll make it to the playoffs. Maybe they might make it to the second round. Who knows? But I do like the move. As for Ariza, I do feel bad. I know he is closer toward the end of his career. Him going onto a bad team like Houston. It's, just take it for what it is, Ariza. Take that contract. Get that money because not going to make that money anywhere else. So that's the best advice I could give him. What about you, Hav?
Well, I'm done with that. Like I said, there's nothing crazy to talk about there. It is what it is. But it is a move that helps Portland. And like I said, Houston might just be in rebuild. Who knows? Who the hell knows what's going on with Houston? But and speaking of keeping on Houston, now Westbrook is also saying he wants out. He was saying stuff like he wants to be on the Knicks and stuff. That's crazy. If you want to be on the Knicks, you really want to leave. But I mean, I guess what this is telling me is that Westbrook just wants to be the man on the team.
Well, he said something that he didn't want to be in Houston just because of he didn't like the culture. He didn't like the fact that people are not going to be held reliable on culpability and stuff like that. And I understand that. I mean, he dealt with a good culture in OKC. I mean, he was in OKC for, 9 years, 10 years?
He wanted to be there for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
And they traded him away.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, you trade him to Houston, where James Harden is the man. Everything really goes what James Harden says. I mean, he didn't want to be second fiddle to James Harden. He didn't want to be the person just standing around. And I get that. That's not Russell Westbrook's type of thing. And James Harden was like, the hell with it. I could care less what you think of. So they don't want to play with each other. As far as I know.
I don't think it's that. I think you're blowing that out of proportion.
No.
They're childhood friends. It's not like they're new buddies and they just don't get along automatically.
No.
It's not like Chris Paul and James Harden.
No, you're misconstruing the thing. They even said it. They're still boys. They're still friends. They just don't want to play with each other. They even said it themselves.
Well, they're uncertain with the whole Houston organization. They have no idea what's happening, and they just don't want any part of it anymore. But I just think Westbrook wants to be in the man of his team.
Westbrook does want to be the man of his team. He wants to be able to be the floor general.
Yeah, you're going to get that in the Knicks.
Well, that's why. I mean, he can't be the best player on a championship team. He will never be that. He needs to be your second best player, if not better yet, your third best player. That's what he wants out of Houston, and he doesn't want to play alongside James Harden. Him and James Harden are still cool. They're still best friends. But best place for him to play in, I would say the Knicks. I mean, he's in a what's it called? New York fans, New York Knicks fans are gonna be, crazy about him. I mean, it'll give something for people to watch at the Garden as opposed to the trash that's being displayed on 34th Street. But I wouldn't have a problem with him going towards the Knicks. I mean, wasn't there a report something of what's it called, John Wall for Russell Westbrook? I don't like that trade.
Yeah, that I don't know about that. John Wall, we don't know what kind of player he's going to be after his injury. And Westbrook to DC, I don't. With Bradley Beal, it might work.
It might work. He's gonna have somebody closer to his level, and they'll definitely be a playoff team. I mean, he'll be reunited with Scotty Brooks. Remember, Scott Brooks was his first NBA head coach when he was with OKC. So you got that working with you.
He'll do more damage there than he would in the Knicks. The Knicks to me is just him trying to find his own team, to be honest. And even in DC, that team would become his. It wouldn't be Bradley Beal's.
I don't know. It'll be a toss up just because Bradley Beal's been there for.
But I don't. It'll be interesting where they shot Westbrook around. I don't think they're keeping him at all. There's no way.
If you're DC, do you make that trade for John Wall for Russell Westbrook?
Yeah, because John Wall is not going to be the same player for you. You know that for a fact. It's not going to have the same explosiveness or anything, bro. So you might as well get someone.
But do you take that if you're Houston?
If I lose James Harden, yeah. Because you need to get something in return for Westbrook. And there's not that many teams that can take on those, big contracts, so
it might be able to work. DC might be the best option. If he goes to the Knicks, I mean, he's gonna have a huge marketing right behind him.
If he goes to the Knicks, they'll love him in New York. But I don't know, as far as getting anything, realistically getting anything done, I don't know. I don't think so. If he wants to at least try to compete, he'll go to DC. But if he just wants to be the man of his own team, then welcome to New York. Because that's what Melo did.
Exactly. And look what it got Melo.
Yeah, barely.
Second round.
Yeah, second round, that's it. And, I mean, if you're a Knicks fan, I guess you settle with that. But,
that's not what you want to settle with.
How much more can you deal with as a Knicks fan, man? If you get Westbrook, good for you, but I just don't see it going anywhere.
Westbrook go to DC. All right, moving on to the next topic. So we ended up getting NBA, and the NBA ended up releasing their city jerseys. I believe every team pretty much has released their own city jerseys. So I don't know. I mean, I was looking through some of these city jerseys. I don't know about
every team.
I'm pretty sure it was every team, right?
I'm pretty sure it was only a handful. I know the Hawks did one, the Nets did one, Chicago did one, if I'm not mistaken, the Hornets, and who else was it? Oakland. Yeah, it wasn't every team, but a lot of teams definitely dropped their city jerseys.
Well, I'm seeing that. What was it? I'm looking at Orlando's. I'm not really crazy about Orlando's. It's orange. It's more of a replica of what's it called, like that Shaq. What's it called? Orlando jersey. But the only difference is that Shaq Orlando jersey was blue. This one's orange.
Yeah, I don't like a lot of these. To be fair, I don't like a lot of these. I think they're all really trash, in my opinion. The best one, in my opinion, is the Hornets one.
But I don't know. I like Oakland's. I like
the Hornets also have a matching court for their city edition court and uniform. So
yeah.
And I just think it's better. To be honest, I'm not a fan of these city jerseys, man. I just don't like them at all. And they're not. I just don't like it.
Well, look, Golden State has one. I kind of like it. It kind of reminds me of the We Believe team. It says Oakland on it. Looks kind of clean in my opinion. The Nets have one. It's a royal blue. It's a throwback of the 1970s Nets. It's okay. The Atlanta Hawks. Eh. The Raptors. I'm not crazy about it at all.
I'm not a
Uh,
fan of it, to be honest. I'm not crazy. I don't like any of these. A lot of people might think I'm like bugging for this, but I just don't like it, to be honest. I don't like any of them except the Hornets one.
except the Hornets one. The
It's
Atlanta
probably
Hawks.
it's clean, dude. The black and the what? What kind of blue is this? Or I don't even know what color this is. So,
I like it.
but
I,
I don't. They need to stop with these.
Chicago, your second city, bro. Chicago. I like that jersey. Has a little bow on the side. It says Chicago on it.
Nah, that thing is trash. I don't like these. I'm sorry. I just don't.
San Antonio. They're trying to bring back the '90s in it. The Hornets looks like the best one. I don't know what Atlanta did. It's like one letter short of saying milk on the jersey.
Yeah, they could have done better. Honestly, if anyone needs to release some jerseys, just city jerseys, it would be Miami. I know they got those Vice City ones and all that. They need to release some other ones like these because Miami, I think, has some of the best jerseys.
Miami does have one of the best jerseys. They really do have one of the best jerseys. And yeah, I mean, whenever Miami puts out their jerseys, I mean, it's pretty hard to compete. But yeah, I think we could come to an agreement. As of right now, the Hornets have the best city jerseys. After that, I don't know. I would just go with not really the Nets, but the San Antonio Spurs. But yeah, so all right, guys. So that concludes everything for this episode of Dropping Dimes. So we had a bunch of trade rumors. We had a superstar in CP3 go to Phoenix. Who knows where Westbrook or Harden is in the land? Is Westbrook going to play in the nation's capital or is he going to play at the Mecca? Is Harden going to play right across the river, in by the Brooklyn Bridge? Or is he still gonna stay in H Town? Who knows? But until then, I'm your host, Flav Oriana. That's my co-host over here, Hav Rodriguez, and we're out, guys. We'll see you next week.
Peace out. Later.
Peace.